Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Film Buds podcast. This is episode number 177, right? Sorry, had a brain malfunction there. And my name is Henry.
And I'm Paul.
And this week we have a triple header for you. It's the first time we've done that in a while. We have a review of Jaws, the classic. I'm surprised we haven't done it at this point. But yeah, we have a review of that. Then we have a review of The Shallows from 2016, which is another shark summer film. And then lastly, a review of Flipper from 1996, a little bit more family friendly.
Cinematic gem.
Yes. And so we're going to be doing that. Then maybe some other stuff we watched, just depending on how long things go. So, yeah, well, first of all, Jacob, I won't speak for him. He was supposed to join us this week. He may pop in randomly at some point. I doubt it. I don't want to say everything that's been going on with him, but he had a bit of a hectic day from what I heard. And so he may join us. If not, he'll be with us next week, possibly. So cross your fingers. And so, yeah, we hope to see him soon. Well, Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I recently went to a theater for the first time. That's my big bit of news that I have. And it was great. It was wonderful to go back, especially because no one was in the theater.
Nice. What'd you see?
F9.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you more about what I thought about it.
Great.
At the end.
Great. Yeah, I haven't been since A Quiet Place Part 2. I guess I'll be seeing Black Widow in theaters. I don't know. I kind of want to see The Purge, but I don't feel like, in a way, I don't want to.
I think that's a natural impulse for any Purge movie.
Yeah, I've heard it's actually okay, but I won't hold my breath. So, yeah, well, cool.
What have you been up to? How have you been?
I've been fine, thanks. Not a whole lot of exciting stuff, really. Just had a pretty quiet 4th of July weekend. The coffee shop I work at was closed over the weekend, so I kind of just had some time off and didn't do a whole lot of celebrating, but just enjoyed myself and all that. So it's it's been an all right week.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Other than that, not a whole lot else to say.
No,
really.
It's been very low key, honestly.
Yeah. Well, Paul, you want to jump in?
Sure, let's get to it.
All right, well, let's get to our first review, which is Jaws from 1975. And we do have a clip, so take a listen.
You heard him. Slow ahead. Slow ahead. I can go slow ahead. Come on down and chum some of this shit.
Okay, so Jaws is, of course, directed by Steven Spielberg, and it stars Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, Murray Hamilton, Robert Shaw, Lorraine Gary, Jeffrey Kramer. Am I forgetting anybody?
No.
Yeah. And the synopsis is, when a killer shark unleashes chaos on a beach community, it's up to a local sheriff, a marine biologist, and an old seafarer to hunt the beast down. Not the worst synopsis, actually. It's not bad for them. They did a decent job with that.
No, yeah, that was good and straightforward.
Yeah, they probably did. They realized that they kind of had to do a good job with Jaws. So,
or maybe they had one that was from the past that they could just recycle.
Recycle, yeah. Well, Paul, you suggested the kind of
the theme for the week.
Creature feature subject. Do you want to kick things off? I mean, there's a lot to talk about with Jaws.
Sure, yeah. So I came up with the idea actually not from a discussion about Jaws, but a discussion about Flipper.
Great.
With my wife's parents, and we were all sitting around watching not Shark Week, but like a competitor on another channel, Shark Fest, I think is what it was called.
Nice.
and it led to me talking about like the hammerhead in Flipper, and how I had like a hand puppet from Pizza Hut, like when I was a kid. And I suddenly was like, oh my God, we don't have really like a theme for this week. What if we did shark movies? And, obviously we hadn't done Jaws. So if you're going to discuss shark movies, you have to do sort of, at least one classic. So Jaws. And then I was like, well, I don't want to watch crap. So what's another shark movie that I like? And I was like, oh, The Shallows.
Yeah. And for behind the scenes looks, I suggested very smartly a John Travolta special, but Paul said, no, Henry. No, we're not doing that. Let's talk about Jaws. We'll let history decide which is better, which was a better idea. But I gave it.
Well, we can still do the John Travolta one sure. We could do Face Off and Grease. Really swing to two different spectrums of John Travolta.
Yeah. Anyways, continue.
But so Jaws is a movie that I saw probably around the same time that like I saw the first Jurassic Park, maybe a little bit sooner. And it was one of those movies that like when I saw it at first, it didn't bother me. I was like 3 or 4 at the time. And then like, I went home, I saw it at a neighbor's house. I went home, I went to bed, and then I woke up with nightmares. And I don't necessarily, remember too much of the nightmares. I remember seeing Jaws very vaguely on like a bubble TV once upon a time. But it's one of those that I've always really, really enjoyed. It's one actually that I think over time, my respect for it and my opinion on it and my like of it has grown. I think that when I was younger, I didn't appreciate how much of a slow burn it was. But I think the older I've gotten, the more I get into it and the characters and the dynamic of the town. And so sitting down to watch it today, I had a great time with it again. How about you?
Yeah, I didn't see it till I think college.
Okay.
Yeah. I think there's 1 year in college where I had like literally nothing to do. And all I did was watch movies in my dorm room. And I think this was one of them. And I ended up watching the sequels at that time as well.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Great. Time well spent.
I'm sure.
And anyhow, I loved it right off the bat. I had heard, it's one of those classic films that everybody talks about. You have to see it. It's a classic. And I think almost more than any other movie, it really is a classic. Like it holds up so well. To me, it's close to a perfect film. There are a couple little things I would point out, but I've seen it many times at this point, and I think it's very entertaining. Spielberg just has a natural ability to, like, he knows when to take a subject matter or a scene seriously, and then when to add humor and lightness to it. And he does that across all of his movies. And this, despite it being a movie about a shark eating people or killing people, it's still a fairly easy watch.
Yeah.
Like it's not grueling to watch as you think it might be with something like The Shallows that's more serious and grim.
Yeah. That one leans more into like a horror vibe, whereas this one is definitely more sort of an adventure thriller kind of a thing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. And like, I think one of the best parts about it in terms of the direction is, despite having watched it many times at this point, pretty much all of the shark encounters are still suspenseful in one way or the other. Like, you'd think that a movie like this, you can kind of see it coming, or you know what's happening, and it becomes boring or tiresome. But in this, like, you're still like, oh my God, like, get out of the water, quick. Or, like the one I think of is when the pier or the dock breaks and he's scrambling at the wood right as the shark is coming. And like stuff like that is still really suspenseful. And some scenes where it comes out of the water still get me. And I think the cast, of course, I mean, this is nothing really new to the conversation. The whole cast is great. I love Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah.
He's awesome in everything, like Close Encounters and many other things. He's probably my favorite part And of course, the theme is awesome. But yeah, I love the movie. It's great.
No, absolutely. I think that you're right. I think the reason that it always holds up with how dramatic it is because it has urgency. It doesn't belabor the point. It's not a whole bunch of people stopping and looking back and a shot of the shark and run away and stop and look back. People move with a lot of urgency, and the shark, grabs something, eats it, and it's done. It doesn't really belabor the point and make it this very excessive, overly drawn out process, like the one guy's death in Army of the Dead.
Oh yeah, great scene
with the zombie tiger. That took something that could have just been instant and visceral and intense and milked it out to the nth degree. And you don't have anything like that with this. The shark shows up, the shark eats, does what a shark does. And I think that that's what makes it all the better all these years later. And the fact that everyone talks about how certain monster movies show too much of the monster, or they talk about how the boring stuff in Kong versus Godzilla. You have to ground your story, and I think that that's what this movie does so well. Is it grounds the story in characters that are interesting. Our character, even if it's very loose, has an arc that he's going through, and our monster means something to that human story beyond just being something that's happening in our characters' lives, interrupting their normalcy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that it makes it for a really successful experience. Honestly, my favorite is still the captain.
Oh yeah. Robert Shaw, is it?
Yes, Robert Shaw. Thank you. He's still my favorite, especially because I have him so thoroughly burned into my brain as Red Grant from Russia with Love.
Oh, right.
That I love seeing him now play this insane, salty sea dog kind of character that's so antithetical to the Bond villain that I also have in my memory.
Yeah.
So I love watching him do his job because he's so living as that person. But a lot of early Steven movies have a really nice grounded reality in our characters' world and their struggles. And it has that early 70s feel where they were finally, experimenting with sound overlap and characters talking over each other. And it makes it feel all the more realistic. It doesn't feel all movie like. It has very simple camera movements, It's just a very grounded story. And I think that that's why it's so classic.
Yeah. And talking about some of the specific scenes or the direction, one scene that is great is the swipe cut on the beach where Roy Scheider is looking out at the water and people pass by the camera and it cuts every time people pass by. That's cinematic.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to even say it. And, I love that. I think then that scene that, and it goes, happens later on where the kid and the dog are killed. That's great. And it's pretty bloody. It's like you see blood spurting out of the water and all that stuff. And it's very, very effective. And talking about Robert Shaw, the speech that he gives about the USS Indianapolis is awesome.
Oh yeah.
About the real life shark attack during World War II. And that's amazing. And one thing that is kind of maybe not unexpected or strange, but about half the movie takes place on the boat.
Yeah.
Which, you wouldn't necessarily expect. You would think that would be the last 10, 15 minutes, but they stay on that boat for a long time. And when it works, it's very, there's a lot of variety in those scenes.
Yeah. I think the reason that the boat works is because you've got these three characters that each have their own very distinct perspectives, and you can just let them play and interact off of each other. And that's interesting enough. Mm-hmm. And, you get to see all of their different perspectives. That scene with the USS Indianapolis is also preceded by this great scene that's nice and fun and jovial, that then suddenly turns into something else. So, the whole scene has its own little arc and story going on inside of the larger narrative of the movie. So I watched this movie this year. I watched this movie last year around summer as well. And the other thing that really stuck out to me then, and it still sticks out to me now, is how relevant some of the themes are about bureaucracy and about people not wanting to believe certain things because it's inconvenient to acknowledge an uncomfortable reality.
Right.
And so I think that that's the other reason that this story really still holds up as well. Oh, no problem.
Oh yeah. Sorry. My Apple Watch started talking.
She had opinions.
Yeah.
But no, so I think it definitely works because it's just a well thought out movie. It's a well structured movie. And they do make all of those characters unique, and they do have themes that are just sort of universal and timeless with it. You know, it's man versus nature in like the most visceral sort of way. And also, you know, the villain works. Sharks look mean. They do look horrifying.
Yeah.
There really isn't a lot about the movie, I think, that doesn't work.
Yeah. I should have said it at the beginning. I love sharks. And I honestly am kind of dying for a new like shark documentary series because I eat that stuff up. But Paul, what's your favorite animal?
What's my favorite animal?
Yeah. Wolves are my favorite. Sharks would be up there, but I like wolves.
Followed by I like owls.
Okay. I like that. It's unconventional. Yeah.
Owls are pretty neat. You know, you can have like a nice variety. You can have like little ones that look, you know, sort of cute and almost storybook like. You can have some that look, you know, just sort of friendly and gentle and nice, you know, a sort of Mr. Owl. And then you can just have mean, gnarly, you know, predators, you know, that are just looming and menacing. So you get good variety. And I think there's a lot of character to owls.
Yeah. Anyhow, in terms of the bureaucracy of the movie, I do like how, and Spielberg is good at doing this as well. He makes the mayor of the island, while he is someone that you dislike, his reasoning for something is not so crazy that you can't understand why someone would feel that way. Because he's not just like, oh, I don't care if people die, just let them swim. It's like you can see he's more scared about, you know, I mean, essentially, you know, being reelected and having the people like him. And so like it's not so crazy that he doesn't feel human. You may not like him, but it's like he feels grounded, and that I like. And what do you think about the look of the shark now? Do you still think it looks pretty believable, or within the context of the movie, do you think it still works?
Yeah, I think it still works 100%.
Yeah.
I'm never really taken out by the shark.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think it looks good. Yeah. Like, for example, the scene where Robert Shaw gets eaten, I think looks awesome. The scene underwater is great. Where there's the jump scare with the body. I love all that stuff. What else for you? Is any?
Even though his time with his family and his wife is pretty brief, I never doubt, you know, that they're sort of a family unit, and I think that they've got a nice, comfortable chemistry between the husband and wife, which I think is actually lacking a little bit in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where I look at Richard Dreyfuss and his wife, and I'm like, how did y'all ever get together? No, I really, it's just sort of, it's universally good to the point that, you know, even sort of the flaws that are in it are things that are things that I can look past very easily. Yeah.
And speaking of, all right, so first thing, the lighting at the beginning of the movie is way off. There's the scene, the campfire scene, pitch black outside. You know, you see the fire, dark background. The kids start running to the beach. It's like it's dusk. It's great. Looks amazing. I love the look of that scene, but he blew it big time there.
No, that's fair.
And also one thing about the end of the movie that I love, that I feel like you wouldn't really expect expect it is that I like how the shark is blown up, literally.
Yeah.
You know, like you wouldn't really think a movie like this that's more thoughtful and classy. Like the shark is blown up.
Yeah.
You know, and then also in terms of movies for the of the time, I like how the movie just ends when they start swimming back to the island. There's no big, post credit scene or no big resolution. It's just shark is blown up. We're done. Let's move on with the day.
Yeah, let's get on with our lives. No need to belabor the point.
We just had a friend be eaten, but let's not worry about that.
Friend is probably a strong term.
Yeah. Oh, and
more like an acquaintance.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, that reminds me of one thing I was going to say. I like the dynamic between the three guys where Robert Shaw, he treats Roy Scheider, who's the police chief. He treats him kind of like a up and coming sailor because he's afraid of water or doesn't like water, and he doesn't really know anything about being on the water. And so Robert Shaw treats him more like, here, learn this, or here, no, do this instead of that. Whereas he treats Richard Dreyfuss as like a enemy, like a competitor, because he's like, here, no, you're using science and all these academics to figure it out. But that's not my way of thinking. I was really there with sharks. I experienced it. And so it's like, he's a new way of thinking that Robert Shaw doesn't want to know about really.
Yeah.
So I like how that dynamic works as well.
I was talking with my wife about it after we watched it, and you've got Scheider who's, afraid of the water, and that's, I think, sort of, further accentuated by Jaws, which is kind of this perfect encapsulation of everything that he fears about the water, And then you've got Robert Shaw's Quint, who is sort of a classic Captain Ahab figure, who's really, on a certain level, almost out for vengeance, the way that he collects these shark jaws and things. Versus Richard Dreyfuss, who has this absolute fascination with them. And you also, like you said, have these two different ideologies on what boating is and how to capture them and how to deal with them. And then you've got sort of Roy Scheider stuck in the middle, who's, figuring it all out and trying to, overcome his fear and his uncertainty in the name of trying to stop this unstoppable force. And that's why it works so well. And that's why all of the scenes on the boats work so well is because it's those three perspectives and that different dynamic, of Richard Dreyfuss is sort of antagonist sometimes, but also a little bit of a whipping boy because he's the only one on the boat other than him that knows anything.
Yeah. And a couple quick last things, a few jokes that I love, and it really reminds you of like the Spielberg's like childlike sensibilities. I like it when Robert Shaw yells at Richard Dreyfuss and he walks away, and then Richard Dreyfuss does the different forms of like flicking off, like with the arms and the like tongue and all that stuff. I love that. And then I also like it when Roy Scheider calls Robert Shaw. He goes, "You're certifiable." You know that?
Yeah.
Certifiable. Love that. And yes, I mean, it's just, it gets better every time I watch it. It's so simple, but it's great. And it's never boring to me. And it never really gets old, so I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. It's one that I don't revisit it too often. Once a year is probably sort of the most for me, but I always have a great time whenever I do.
Yeah. Is your favorite Spielberg Jurassic Park?
Paul? Yeah, probably followed by Close Encounters.
Okay.
What about you?
Saving Private Ryan would be one. Jaws would be up there, maybe 3 or 4. Schindler's List as well is up there. I like Lincoln a lot as well. Yeah, those would be my top ones probably. Yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah. But I mean, I love so many of his movies, so it's kind of hard to choose.
Yeah. Minority Report might not make my top 5. It might make my top 10.
Okay, well, anything else about Jaws?
If you haven't seen it somehow, definitely go for it.
Well, I can say, speaking of, 2 of my coworkers out of the 5 that I've talked to have not seen it. So
interesting.
40% already.
Well,
I said I'm embarrassed for you, but
I mean, you don't really have a lot to lose. Like, pretty much any movie that you would go and watch in theaters right now is probably worse than this. So,
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Easy. All right, out of 5 stars, then.
You know what? I'll go 5.
Yeah, it's a heavy 5 for me. So, all right. Well, I guess I kind of did these out of order in terms of release date, but oh well. You want to talk The Shallows?
Sure.
All right. Well, yeah, let's get into The Shallows from 2016. And we also have a clip. So take a listen.
Stop! Stop! Get out of the water! Get out of the water! Get out! Stop! Go back! Shark!
Don't worry about it. There's small sharks here.
Stop! Stop! Get out of the water! Get out! Go back! Get out!
Okay, so The Shallows is, and sorry for butchering this name if I do, it's directed by Jaume Collet Serra, something like that. And it stars Blake Lively, and that's about it. Some other people who just pop up here and there. And the synopsis is: a mere 200 yards from shore, surfer Nancy is attacked by a great white shark, with her short journey to safety becoming the ultimate contest of wills. So this one, came out a couple years ago. I guess 5 years ago at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
was a fairly big summer hit, I guess you can say. Paul, had you seen this prior to doing the show?
Yeah, I saw The Shallows in theaters 5 years ago when I was in LA. And I had seen it maybe once or twice since then, but I hadn't seen it since like several years ago. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters as well. I like Blake Lively. I mean, she's not a actor of the generation, but I enjoy a lot of her movies and shows. And overall, I enjoyed it. There are a few moments, especially towards the end, that get a little ridiculous, to say the least. And there are a few writing aspects of it that I don't love, but I think it's just a fairly solid kind of B movie thriller, survival thriller, which I'm always up for. And this director, I checked, he's doing Black Adam upcoming, and he also just did Jungle Cruise with The Rock and Emily Blunt. And he also did before this, he did Nonstop and The Commuter with Liam Neeson, and I think a couple, and I think he also did Orphan about 15 years ago, the horror film. I've seen, I think, all of those. And there's something about him. I don't think there's any film of his that I love, but he kind of reminds me a little bit of Tony Scott, where he'll take these like kind of simple B movie concepts and turn them, not elevate them to where they're incredible, but elevate them slightly with a little style and a little bit more thoughtfulness than others might. And they're not trying to be anything more than they are. They just are simple, tight action thrillers. And I kind of like that about him, and this is probably my favorite of those. And it's so overall, and rewatching it, I feel about the same. It maybe went down slightly, but not too much.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that with a little bit of time, some of it has gotten a little bit lesser for me. When I first saw it, I definitely really really, really enjoyed it. I still very much enjoy it. But it definitely came down a little bit. You know, the man versus, you know, an animal kind of movie is pretty common, but once you start getting into like the shark movie specific varietals of the genre, it gets pretty all over the place. You know, Jaws is obviously the king.
Sure.
You know, there's just no escaping that. But this is probably my second favorite of the ones that, you know, take it a little bit more seriously. Just because it's a genre that really swings on a spectrum of Jaws to the Meg. So you've got a lot of wiggle room in terms of what's good and what's bad in this subgenre.
Yeah.
But I still really enjoyed it. This is probably one of my favorite Blake Lively performances. This might be my favorite Blake Lively performance, but that's just because like I've seen almost nothing that Blake Lively has done.
Right.
The shark definitely looks worse here at times.
Yeah. Like, I mean, there are parts of it I think look good, but then I think especially towards the end where there's more light on it, it doesn't look that great. Which, you know, isn't the worst thing in the world. I can kind of accept that, but I agree. There are points where I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. It's an hour and 26 minutes, but for me, it probably felt pretty equivalent lengthwise to Jaws.
Yeah. Yeah. I think probably my favorite part about it is, and I wish it could have been more, is I like the somewhat procedural aspect of her trying to get from one rock to another, and, you know, timing that. And I wish there was more of that. And I like a few of the encounters she has with people on the beach. Like I like it kind of repeats a few times over where someone will be swimming out, a wave passes over and they disappear briefly, or they disappear completely. I like how that is used. I like the guy who gets chewed in half. That's pretty good. And then also the surfer who disappears and then comes back up briefly before he's dragged back down. A few of the writing things that feel very like a studio producer was just hammering them is like where she's talking to herself, to the bird, where she's, and then also when she's on top of the whale and the shark starts pushing her away and she's like, what are you doing? Where are you taking me? Like stuff like that feels like no one would actually ever say that, but they needed a little bit more clarification, which I don't think they did. And so there are a few parts like that drag it down a little bit. And yeah, I like Blake Lively. This is probably my favorite. I mean, I like her in The Town.
Oh, you know what? I forgot about The Town.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you on definitely. I think that's part of the problem is that she did get so thoroughly stranded that there wasn't terribly much for her to do other than talk to the bird, you know, and I think that is part of the issue is that, you know, that's part of the tension, but it's also part of the problem then is that what does she do? You know, what's our actor's business while they're on this rock? You know, how can it be more precise? You know, we know that we've got the countdown for low tide and high tide. But beyond that, she doesn't have a lot to do, like you said, other than just kind of be there, try and signal for help. She does that little bit of makeshift surgery, but we never really get anything sort of beyond that one moment of it. So that's probably one of the parts that brings it down for me. I'm also just, you know, I know that the jellyfish serve the purpose of like sort of saving her or whatever or giving her protection while she's trying to get to the buoy. But it for me, it definitely hit a certain level of ridiculousness of just how much she was having to deal with and endure and things like that.
It's a bit silly.
Yeah, it definitely does hit some moments. And especially since like they get neon and bright. And I'm like, is that like you hallucinating how bright they are because you're being stung by them? Because then we cut away to like the shark sort of approaching and everything's back to being sort of dark and like they weren't bioluminescent just then.
Yeah, like this isn't Finding Nemo, you know.
Yeah, you know, so it's a little bit that part was probably one of the weaker moments for me in the movie overall.
I would just say the third act is the weakest, where she's like one-on-one with a shark, and there's the whole thing of the shark getting impaled on this very, like elaborate plan she has.
I was going to tell you, I personally absolutely love how the shark dies, even if it is silly.
Oh no! So I love the final moment of the shark being impaled. It's just the believability of her getting to that moment.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, but no, I like the shark getting impaled as well.
Yeah, for me, it's as good as the blow up. Like, it's so just shocking and sudden, and I really enjoyed that. I'm trying to think about.
Oh, one thing, just jumping to the end. I don't know why I like it so much. The end credits, amazing. The waves, love that. Yeah.
So I own both of these, but I didn't have them with me since I was traveling, and I came up with this idea after I left my house. So I ended up renting both Jaws and The Shallows in 4K. They both looked fantastic. Let me just say that Jaws really, really spruced up nicely. The colors really popped, looked great. The Shallows definitely called attention to me for some of the visual edges a little bit more. I could definitely delineate very clearly, the sort of green screen on the wet set,
Right.
But other than that, it looked great for the most part. And yeah, those end credits are just really, really cool. That is one thing about the movie, is like it is very visually distinct. Sometimes I find some of the phone stuff a little bit excessive.
I don't love it.
But I did like the use of like that same concept, but for like the Casio watch as our countdown. It worked really well for me there. It worked less for me for her scrolling through Instagram and things like that.
Yeah. And I'm embarrassed to say I only had the Blu-ray of both, Paul. I'm sure people are turning off right now, but no, I think both movies, even just on Blu-ray, look.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Oh yeah. I think that the movie also, if it had a little bit more to do, I will say this, it wants to be very pretty, and it wants to show how cool it is and how pretty it is. But there are a few times where I'm like, we could move past some of these glamour shots. This montage has gotten a little bit, especially in the beginning with the surfing and everything. It's like, come on, we can speed this up a little bit. I don't need slow-mo for this whole surfing montage.
No. Oh, I do wish, like, even if the movie isn't a masterpiece, I do wish there were more movies like this. Just like simple B movie, but it's like solid. They're not trying to be best of the year. They're just solid entertainment, tight 90 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, this was a $17 million movie with, an hour and a half just under runtime. This was a really nice, tight, simple movie. Kind of like the first John Wick, like there's nothing wrong with just a nice, tight, clean movie.
Yeah. And also talking about other shark films, recent ones, I enjoy, again, they're not amazing by any means. I enjoyed the 47 Meters Down films, the two films. Paul, have you seen those?
No, I have not yet.
Yeah, they're very just B movie aware, self-aware of what they are. And I am sad that we didn't have Jacob on for this, because I checked his Letterboxd review of this and he gave it a 5 out of 5.
Really?
So, yeah, we'll have to hear from him maybe next week about that.
He didn't write a review with it?
Nah.
Shame.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a cool movie to revisit, and I still think it's an enjoyable film, and I also enjoy just single location, few character films like this one.
Yeah, it's it really is her show. I mean, she gets to run this whole movie. But little one-man show movies are pretty impactful if done right, and I think that this one's done right for the most part. I care a little bit less about her family. I didn't necessarily need that call to her family. I definitely didn't need the end credit scene.
You weren't in tears?
Or not the end credit scene, but the little 1 year later scene. I didn't need any of that. I got it. She's upset about her mom. I don't need, and she left med school. I don't need to see her family. I didn't need her dad guilt tripping her on the phone and awkwardly being like, I love you and I'm proud of you at the end.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a cool film,
Yeah. Again, especially for how short it is, there are definitely worse things that you could be doing with your time than going and watching like a nice, simple little one-off. Yeah.
Now, is Blake Lively in the Gossip Girl reboot?
I don't know.
I mean, I have no interest in it, but I'm curious.
No, I don't have a clue. I haven't kept up with the Gossip Girl anything at all.
Well, anyhow, anything else about The Shallows?
No, not really. No, I think it's a good little romp.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's a 4 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I'll go 4 out of 5.
Okay. All right. Well, with that done, let's get on to our final review, which is Flipper from 1996. And turns out we have a clip. So take a listen.
It's a summertime affair. Oh, yes.
Sandy's been sent to spend the summer with his uncle. But there are a few problems.
Well, you know what they say. You can choose your friends, can't choose your relatives.
The accommodations bite.
There you go.
The food is unusual.
You want your SpaghettiOs with or without?
Without what?
Wee-wee Franks.
And there's not a friend in sight.
There's gotta be some mistake. You cannot be my uncle.
Until today.
Cool.
What's his name?
His name is Flipper.
So, as I said earlier, Flipper came out in 1996, and it's directed by Alan Shapiro and Shelley Hatton. It stars Paul Hogan, Elijah Wood, Jonathan Banks, Robert Deacon,
Isaac Hayes.
Yep, Chelsea Field, Luke Halpin. That's about it, I believe. And the synopsis is a teenage boy sent to spend the summer with his eccentric uncle on the Florida coast befriends a remarkable dolphin and takes on local bad guys who are polluting the water. So Paul, yeah, you suggested this one, and you had, you briefly talked about your reasoning for doing it. What do you think of this one?
Had you seen this before?
I hadn't. No.
Okay, you had never seen this one.
No.
Okay. Yeah,
to be honest, I didn't. I had in my mind Elijah Wood's career started with Lord of the Rings. So
I'm glad that I could expand.
Yeah, before that I thought he was just a kid. So
no, yeah. Elijah Wood was, acting at the age of 15. So I saw this movie like way, way, way long ago. I don't know if it came out in theaters. I maybe saw it in theaters, but I definitely remembered the hammerhead shark for whatever reason, like Elijah Wood being in it, the dolphin being in it, were definitely a part of my memory of this movie. But the thing that I really remembered the most was the hammerhead shark, which retroactively, now that I've watched the movie, is hilarious because the shark is barely in this movie.
Yeah.
But I remembered liking it as a kid. I remembered enjoying it well enough. I didn't remember most of it. I probably hadn't seen it since VHS days long ago. So going back and rewatching it was a real trip for me. But honestly, I found myself still enjoying it. Maybe it was a little bit of nostalgia glasses, but I still found myself really enjoying Flipper for what it is. What about you?
So I hadn't seen this. I'll say I didn't love it.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing, I wasn't upset that I saw it. It's I I wasn't like, damn it, Paul. Like, I like Elijah Wood. I like ocean water stories, and I like a good human animal friend partnership, whatever you want to call it. I think I just found it to be a little maybe too by the numbers. Like, I think maybe as you had, if I had seen this when I was a kid, I could totally see myself looking past that stuff and not even worrying about it. But I think having no attachment to it until now, I think that stuff kind of made it feel a little bland. And also, I don't love Paul Hogan.
Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, I think he's a little underwhelming. I really like Elijah Wood, and I think he's very fun. But so yeah, it's just a little forgettable, a little bland, but still, nevertheless, like charming, fun, some sweet moments, and I like the look of it. I like the score. Yeah, so I mean, it's charming, and it's worth a watch if you enjoy that genre. It's just, it would not be a favorite of mine.
Did you enjoy Paul Hogan punching a hole in the coconut with his fingers?
Yes. That might be the best moment.
No, I completely see what you mean. It's kind of equivalent for me to some of the sort of straight to the Disney Channel movies.
Yeah.
That you grow up watching. The movie is an adaptation of like a movie and a TV show, which were in the 60s.
Yeah.
And so I asked, since, I was sitting with my wife's parents, I was like, did y'all watch the Flipper TV show ever? And they were like, yeah, like I remember watching Flipper. And I was like, oh, what was Flipper like? Like, what was Flipper the show about? What was it like? And she was like, well, I like this. It was kind of like Lassie. It was like a boy and his dog, but it was a boy and his dolphin, and they would get into mischief or some sort of short little 30-minute sitcom plot. But instead of it being a boy and his dog, it was a boy and his dolphin. And that's definitely how the movie feels. It just sort of feels a little bit like the loose plot of a few sitcom episodes, kind of very faintly stitched together by this villainous character played by, for all you Breaking Bad fans out there, Jonathan Banks, who went on to have a very different career than pretty much everyone else in this motion picture. So ultimately, I think you are right. It is a little bit safe. There's nothing groundbreaking about it. I did look up some interesting stuff about the movie. It used 3 real dolphins and then a series of animatronic dolphins as well.
Okay.
And I think it also used an animatronic hammerhead for certain bits of the movie. This is the last thing that this director did.
I looked that up actually. Yeah.
He did like a 90s erotic thriller sometime before this. And then he ended up doing this movie, and then he stopped. And for a little while, he was a professor at USC School of Filmmaking. But he just sort of vanished, and this is just one of those odd little movies that I feel like you caught it or you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, because I heard about it over the years, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll get to that, but I just never got around to it.
Well, now you had a reason.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome. I'm trying to expand,
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. But no, it's I mean, it's still, again, there's nothing really terrible about it. I still found it, entertaining. And now here's a question: how charming actually do you find the dolphin?
It depends.
Yeah, I feel like the point of the movie is for you to see how charming the dolphin is, but at times it's just it doing stuff, and it's not always charming. Like other times it is, but other times I'm like, all right, let's wrap it up.
No, it's not quite, Free Willy level of like emotional attachment with the animal or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't necessarily like truly bond with Flipper. And that is probably one of the weaker points of the film as well. Like that's a valid point.
Yeah.
You like it because it's a cute dolphin, not necessarily because Flipper is like the strongest formed of characters, even as far as like, you know, animal companions can go.
Yeah. And another movie that it maybe this movie inspired it partially is The Way Back.
Mm-hmm.
The film about the kid who goes and spends the summer away and at the beach. And like, I mean, I love that movie. And so I kind of enjoy that, you know, slice of life, vacation, coming of age concept, you know.
Well, and you know, it has that Harry and the Hendersons ending, you know.
Right.
Get out of here. We don't want you anymore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, it's, yeah, you know.
Have you seen any of the Crocodile Dundee movies?
Ages ago, but I have seen them.
Oh, maybe we should do those sometime.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe this will be the thing that finally makes you stop watching
Film Buds
like a movie.
Show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I'm glad we got around to doing it because you know, I had been meaning to watch it, and it's cool to see Elijah Wood in something that is not Lord of the Rings. I mean, he's been in plenty of things since Lord of the Rings, but it was kind of cool to see him as a wee lad.
Yeah, Paul Hogan is still alive.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
How old?
He was born in 1939.
Oh yeah, getting up there.
Yeah. He looks all right for his age.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's still not, you know, Crocodile Dundee, you know, anytime soon, but you know. I like Elijah Wood. He's fine in this. I had seen like Elijah Wood in this and then nothing until Lord of the Rings. And then I saw him in like Sin City. And I like Elijah Wood here. He's fine. Got to
do those two at some point.
Okay, we can do that at some point.
I've forgotten that he's in that. His character in that is ridiculous, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah, he's done all kinds of stuff. A lot more range than I think most people realize because he's kind of just like floated through a whole bunch of different things, you know, Flipper, and people just know him from, I think, whatever they saw him in. You know, I don't think that anyone is really like well versed in the entire career of Elijah Wood the way that some people are with certain actors. You know?
Yeah. All right. Anything else about Flipper?
There are worse things for your kid to watch. So if you're tired of seeing minions and trolls or
no way,
you know, here you go. Go and make them watch something with real people in it.
Yeah. I mean, Paul, I'm pretty sure the Minions sequel is close.
Yeah. The Minions sequel. That's also a Despicable Me prequel. It's like a snake eating its own tail.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep an eye out for that one. Everyone,
or don't let it die.
Yeah. Okay, out of 5,
you know what? 3.
Heavy 2.5.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm giving it the 3 for the fingers through the coconut.
Yeah, it's an iconic moment. So, okay, well, with all the reviews done now, you want to just end off with some picks of the week?
Sure. You want to take it away?
Sure. I don't have a whole lot this week. As I was talking about last week, I've kind of been getting back into baseball, which I played and was obsessed with when I was a kid. And so I've always kind of had a fondness for it and attachment to it. I rewatched Little Big League, which is a movie that I saw when I was a kid. And it's this movie about a young boy whose grandfather owns the Minnesota Twins baseball team. The grandfather dies, and then he gives the team to the kid. And then the kid takes over the team, and he appoints himself the manager of the team. And he's this incredibly knowledgeable person on the sport of baseball and knows all the history of it. And so he has to win over the professional baseball players that he is worth their time. And it's just takes them through a season of him kind of himself changing and him winning over the players. And it, for a movie that sounds so silly, it's actually pretty well done. It has a pretty good cast. It's quite funny, and it's a well-rounded story, despite it being something that you can kind of see what's coming.
Okay.
So I watched that, and also I got recently the most recent MLB The Show game. I guess it's MLB 21, and it's just like a MLB video game for Xbox One, and so that's been enjoyable. And then otherwise, I think, let me see here. Bear with me here. And I think I mentioned this to Paul. I rewatched Ted with the Seth MacFarlane, Mark Wahlberg comedy, and people can shame me for it. I don't know how people feel about it, but I still think it's quite funny. I don't love all of Seth MacFarlane's work, but I think this is solid still. I don't think I'd seen it since it came out. I think Mark Wahlberg and Mila Kunis are excellent together, and I think Seth MacFarlane's voice performance is awesome. And I love how the character of Ted is used, and how he is a bit of a celebrity, but the whole movie isn't necessarily about him being plagued by oh, well, you're a talking teddy bear. I like how it's just a comedy, like a buddy comedy.
Yeah. And people just sort of accept it.
Yeah. And so that was really fun to revisit. I was kind of worried about how it would hold up, but I was laughing a lot. And I think that might be about it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, if I think of anything else, I'll say it after you go.
Okay, so I watched, my wife and I had very slowly watched Jurassic Park, Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, over quite a period. And we were just sort of sitting around, and I was like, let's watch Jurassic World. And so we watched Jurassic World again. It's still fine. It's probably still the best of the Jurassic sequels. And there are definitely parts that I absolutely hate, but for the most part, it's pretty good still. Then we watched The Tomorrow War.
Oh yeah, I've been curious about this one.
It feels like it's a movie that's supposed to be, I feel like the aliens and this whole concept of the future war is almost meant to be like a message for environmentalism and trying to care about the problems of the future generation now. So that way you can fix it for them and they don't have to deal with this outcome that you're racing towards.
Right.
But the problem is, and that concept of it is fine. And there's a lot of stuff that is still good in the movie in terms of some of the story beats and structure and things like that. But they don't do a good job enough for me of grounding me in this main character's arc and showing me how he's, because the whole thing is he goes into the future and he has to come to terms with his past. But the whole thing is there's nothing to me in his past that's so bad that I believe what happens, sort of to his character in the years in between when he left the past and came to the future and so forth. Anywho, but the point is, I think that it's kind of a little bit weak on Chris Pratt's arc, and I'm also not sure that it's one of Chris Pratt's better performances, and I think that really mires the performance or the movie for me.
If I may, Chris Pratt, I like him in Guardians of the Galaxy, and I like him in the Lego Movie. I think he was truly genius in Parks and Rec. I think he is hysterical in that show. Before he'd really gotten big, I think he's amazing in that. And I laughed so hard at his character. I think since he blew up, I have completely I sell hard on him. I think his characters in Jurassic World, like Tomorrow War, Passengers, they're all of these roles that he takes. I mean, great for him for making this huge career now. That's awesome. But I think he has completely lost his edge. I think he's just become so vanilla and so, maybe it's just the money speaking through him, but where he doesn't need to really try all that much. Or it's maybe
people don't demand it of him.
Yeah, or he's just not taking the right roles. But I think I have am just like, I have almost no interest in seeing his movies that he's in nowadays. I think he's funny in Lego Movie in the first one and in the first Guardians, but I think for the most part since then, I think he's so flat for me.
If you're a hard sell on Chris Pratt, then I don't think that this is going to be the movie that changes your mind. And also it's probably a movie that you can skip for that reason as well. And there's some good things in it.
Yeah. And I think eventually I will see it. Like I tend to still see what he does just in case, but my expectations have been sadly lowered over the years.
You can hold off. I wouldn't rush to watch it.
Yeah.
So then my wife and I watched Fate of the Furious because we've been watching all of those movies, and we watched that one because we were doing a date night, and we decided to go out to a theater for F9. And so it was this theater down the interstate from where her parents live, and I bought tickets online beforehand. And it was, like there was the standard seat, and then there was this like, a premium sort of seat price. It was like $850 versus like $1350 or something like that. And I clicked the $1351, and I picked our seats. We reserved K9 and K10, which were the very back row center. And I go to the theater. We get there, go to the ticket guy, show him, he points us to the theater. We walk into the auditorium.
Don't tell me.
And we start to walk up the stairs, and on one side of the auditorium, and I'm thinking that there's going to be like a left turn or something, for us to find the rest of the stairs. And it's just a wall. It's just a hard wall. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I look at my wife, and she's not sure of what's going on. And I'm like, well, let's go and try the far side. So we walk over to the far side, same issue, just this hard wall.
Okay.
And it stops at G. So somewhere past this wall, theoretically, are my seats. But there's like not a door, there's no stairwell anywhere. So we're like, okay, maybe we missed something. Maybe we missed something in like the walkway into the theater, So we go back out into the hallway that leads into the theater. There's nothing there except for an employees only door. So we walk back out because previews are playing and the movie's about to start. And so we go to the ticket guy, and we're like, hey, we can't get to our seats. And he's like, you can't find your seats? And I'm like, we can't get to our seats. I'm like, there's a wall at row G, and I pre-ordered seats in advance on an app, and I selected K9 and K10, and the theater has a hard stop at G. And he just completely stone faces me, goes, is K after G? And I go, yes.
That's when
A, B, C, D.
You're dealing with an expert.
And so I shoot it through, and I'm like, so yes, K is after G. Where are my seats?
Good job. You made it through second grade.
And so he goes, and he's really having to think. And suddenly he's like, oh, they might be upstairs. And I go, great. Where is upstairs? How do I get to upstairs? And he goes, that way, take a left. There's a staircase up there. There's a guy. He can help you. So then we go up the staircase, and essentially what it is like the lower level is just sort of general theater experience. You can get concessions and take them into the theater, or you can pay for a $13.50 ticket, where it's like a 21 and up area where you can get cocktails and you can order like food that they then bring to your table. We didn't use any of this because my wife and I had gotten food before the movie. And so we get up there, there's no one around.
Yeah, of course.
We obviously see Auditorium 1, and so that's where it was. And so it was like this hard wall that they used as a division, and you had to literally go up to the second floor. But up there with nicer seats, it was reclined, and there was no one there.
Nice.
There was like one other couple, but they were way, way, way over to like front row and left of the rows that were there. So my wife and I just got to sit in the back row and watch F9, and it was as big and dumb and loud as any Fast movie. But you know what? It was absolutely fucking great to see that thing in all of its stupid, unabashedly campy glory. It's too long, and it's a little bit too self-serious at times. But whenever that movie gets to the stupid action stuff on that big screen, man, it really was a blast. It was fun to go back and see something so bombastic and unafraid to have the audacity to do some of the things that it does in terms of how stupid it gets.
And now, did Justin Lin direct this?
Yeah, he came back for this one. And it does that is where it starts to get a little bit heavy is it does the thing of having to like fix its mythos and retcon certain things and adjust the story a little bit to fit the needs of this new plot. And that's where it gets very bogged down and very heavy and overly long. I liked some of the young cast that they had because they do these flashbacks to like young Dom and his brother Jacob.
Okay.
And I'll say this, the guy who plays young Dom is probably a better actor than Vin Diesel.
Not a high bar, but...
So, but you know what? I had a good time. I wasn't necessarily mad that I watched it, you know.
Now, is Charlize Theron in this?
Yeah, but barely.
How's her haircut?
Bowl cut.
Okay.
She looks like a blonde K-pop star.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then I'll see it. But now, how does it compare to recent ones?
I'd put it okay. So, like of the soft reboot ones, kind of starting at 4 and onward, 5 is probably still my favorite, followed by 7.
Same.
I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw, but I would say that Fate and F9 probably come in third, tied, followed by 6. Actually, no, followed by 4, followed by 6. Because 4 was a little bit bland and 6 was awful. I didn't really enjoy Owen Shaw. I hated the Letty amnesia plot. I didn't think that the Rock storyline in that one worked quite as well. I thought that 6 was a real mess and a real slog and a real bore in all the worst possible ways. Whereas I thought 8 was sometimes still somewhat fun and ridiculous in a good way. And at least it had crazy concepts. Whereas 6, beyond the flippy car, I didn't really care about the tank. I thought the tank kind of sucked.
The zombie car? I like that.
So yeah, 6 is probably my least favorite of those. So I'd put this on par with Fate of the Furious, It gets a little bit heavy, but and that does slow it down, but it's not the worst in the world.
Slows it down, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I'm wanting to see it at some point, so it's good to know it was a good time.
Yeah, and we'll probably see Black Widow in theaters as well.
Yeah. Now, you had an interesting journey to get to your seats. Was it just as interesting getting out?
No, the out was much less memorable. Yeah.
Okay. Simple.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anything else for you, Paul?
No, not really.
Yeah. Oh, I rewatched Batman, the Tim Burton one.
Oh, okay.
And it's awesome.
I'll say this: you picked a game. I've been playing a lot of the Jurassic World Evolution Park Sim.
How is it?
Really good. I like it a lot. It's not necessarily the best in terms of all of the management stuff, and there are some gripes that I have with the game, but for the most part, it's really good. It's really diverting. It has a lot of fun DLC stuff, and I'm really excited about the second one.
Have you seen that Jurassic Park animated series on Netflix?
No, I'm not going to either. I don't think, because I think it's aimed towards children, I believe.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I could be wrong.
Cool. Now, are you still playing Train Simulator?
Yeah, a little bit.
Nice.
I haven't lately because I don't want to, bore anyone in Lauren's family. So
Tinder has that effect.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's great for the person driving the train.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, anything else about anything, Paul?
No, not really. Depending on when we see Black Widow, we could potentially do that next week or maybe the week after.
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Well, I guess that is about it for the show, sadly, this week. And then, as Paul was just saying, potentially Black Widow for next week. If not, week after that, we can do it one way or the other. And hopefully we can get Jacob back on for one of those episodes. And so, yeah, just stay updated for all of that. Yeah. Well, I mean, Paul, as always, thanks for taking the time. It's always nice to chat.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Well, we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and we'll see you next time.